When you look at how the Bible was written, which was written in 3 languages, it was written in Hebrew, it was written in Aramaic, and it was written in Greek. When you look at the word God in Aramaic, right? It translates to Ilah, right? This was long before the Quran came out, right? So Jesus, right, when he's talking in Aramaic and he's talking about God, he's talking about Ilah, right? What does that sound like?
Allah.
Very interesting, right? Because what does Ilah mean? It's, right, like you just have to break down the word. It's basically saying this is God. And the fundamental difference between Christianity and Islam, for example, is that Islam doesn't believe Jesus to be God. Christianity believes Jesus to be God. And by that premise alone, you do worship a different God, because one God for Christians is Jesus, and for Muslims, Jesus is just a prophet, right? For Christians, Jesus died and rose again from the dead. For Muslims, Jesus just died. So there is a lot of back and forth with what is true, what is not true. But what I've come to realize, and which goes back to your initial point, is that if your relationship and your experience with God is limited to the book alone, then you haven't really experienced God. You read all these stories in the Bible of how God interacts with humanity and God interacts with people, and you ask yourself, like, why hasn't God done that with me? Right? It's maybe because you haven't pursued it. Like, why can't God speak to you the same way that he spoke to, I don't know, Moses? I just know, bro, I've had some crazy interactions with God over the last couple of years, and it's all come from literally not listening to anything that anybody's told me about who God is and the construct and box in which they put him in. If God was easy to understand, he wouldn't be worth worshiping. It's like this man says, like, bro, if you can understand the essence of who God is, then like there's no purpose to God. God has to transcend who you are.
God's that little voice in your ear where everything around you is quiet enough where you can actually hear.
And it's getting to that quiet place that's extremely important.
That's where God is.